Hello and welcome, and we have a galaxy of stars on the programme today for you. We've got the long-suffering doctor's wife from the Citadel, Claire Higgins. We've got a long-suffering doctor from Doctor in the House, Robin Nedwell. And we've also delighted to welcome Jack Jones, who'll be singing for us. But I'd like to start with some stars of a different sort. Stars that at first glance look like stars of the road of the 1920s. But in fact, there's a little bit more to them than that. And as they draw up, let's find out what it's all about. Brian Fell, I know you're from the company Homark, who produce all these lovely vehicles, but hop out and let's take a closer look. Because these, in fact, aren't vehicles of the 1920s. These are sort of more modern, aren't they?
That's right.
Because your company specialises in the craftsmanship of the past. I mean, what sort of things have the men done on a vehicle like this?
Well, they've built quality into a modern-day vehicle. That's what it really represents. And they're really everyday working vehicles. Mm-hmm. They're not just for show.
So all the finish here, all this lovely brass work, all the lovely lamps and all the bits and pieces that look straight out of the genuine thing, they've really all been made
absolutely
in recent years?
handmade, yes, very recently, the past couple of months.
How did the company get involved in all this?
Well, to start with, we produce old-fashioned beer pumps, you know, the
all
beer
sort of things we'd see in the pub.
That's right.
Yes.
And the chairman and managing director, they wanted to get into nostalgia a little bit further, so they decided to build. So the beer
pumps pulls spread to these lovely vehicles.
That's
now,
right.
I know that you no longer make these because perhaps there isn't quite the demand for something like this.
Well, we've got more demand for the vans because they can be used every day.
Well, let's take a look at the vans,
yes,
because they're very interesting. They've got this lovely, full of character. They certainly would give a firm an identity, wouldn't they, with driving along in a van like this. But if they had something that was genuinely built in the 1920s, it wouldn't last them very long.
It wouldn't be reliable.
So let's take a look at the sort of thing you provide, in particular the engine. Because all the working parts are modern?
All the working parts are modern Leyland Sherpa.
So, I mean, what does that mean? What sort of, how strong is the engine? How big is the engine?
Very good. This one in particular is a 1700. We also do a 2-litre version. But the pulling power and the capacity is really very good.
So, I mean, how many miles will they get to the gallon and something like this?
About 24, 25 to the gallon.
So that's not bad at all.
No?
Pop the cover down again. Yes. See, everything works so smoothly. And again, you see, looking at all the features, all this lovely brass work, you can see how it's evolved in a way from the old pulls in the pub. But obviously, the lights and everything, that's the
lights are
the real up-to-date
really
stuff.
Up-to-date, yes. It has to be like that for practical reasons.
And if we move on, let's take a look inside. Can I open the door?
Yes.
I love opening this handle. Just up. It's so smooth. It's better than my modern car handle.
We try hard.
And there again, a mixture of the modern and the old. And first thing I noticed was the old accelerator pedal
original.
there.
That's original. We try and keep as much authenticity as possible into the machine.
Everything works as well as it ought to in the 1980s, and with all the instrumentation, they're modern instruments, but brass work again.
That's right, that's right. To capture nostalgia.
Who do you get to do all this work? Has it been difficult finding the craftsmen to do it all?
We have very highly trained craftsmen. They generally go through college first, and then probably 2 years they're just about ready after working in the factory to produce the van.
Do they enjoy doing this type of work?
Yes, they do, very much so.
Because I imagine they get a lot of fulfillment out of it. And I love all the lovely paintwork. There's more than a couple of coats of
11
paint
coats.
on this.
11 coats on there. You don't get that today.
Let's move round to the back and take a look. I mean, just how much can they put in here? Just how big is it inside?
This is the smallest one, which has 120 cubic feet capacity, but we do to a maximum of 200 cubic feet.
And is it wood, by the way, or is it metal?
Oh, no, no, all metal, totally metal, and sheet metal, not
just
aluminium.
I'm going to draw the camera forward, because just look at the finish here. My goodness, you know, I mean, people would be proud not only to make something like this, you know, but to drive around.
That's right.
It.
That's right.
Everything, every surface, everything is a pleasure to look at and to touch. And of course, developing from this, even the hinges are smooth. You've got this here. This is the little pickup. Again, it's much the same, is it, up to this point?
Yes, exactly the same.
But then moving back, all this lovely wood here.
Handmade mahogany, parts of it hand carved, in fact.
How much does this contain?
Roughly 200 cubic feet again, but of course for nurseries and people like that, they can have, you know, the palm trees and whatever they like in there. So really the capacity is quite substantial on the pickup.
So you see, you're making a high quality product, so I imagine we're talking about fairly high priced, are we?
Not for handmade.
Give me an idea of the cost.
Roughly £11,000. That's a general overall of the various models.
So who is buying them from you?
All sorts of people.
What
Hopefully
sort?
loads of them. Dry cleaners, builders merchants, anybody really who wants to, well, if you say, stand out and deliver.
Yes. Well, certainly it's a marvellous example of good old British workmanship, and it's good to see that it's selling well now, and
Yes.
let's hope that you have a new future for this sort of work.
We
Brian
think so.
Fell, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Let's go inside now and join Johnny.